Welcome everybody to Training Tuesday. Hope you're having a great Tuesday so far. I am Heidi Reese with Dayton Superior and Simon's Training Department, and I'm sitting here with Mr. Chuck Hoke, who is our National Training Manager. So I hope that everyone's doing well, and we just want to go over a couple of things before we get going with the actual training. So those of you who have joined have been muted so that we can all hear the presentation without any distractions, but don't let that stop you from asking any questions throughout the presentation, and especially at the end, we'll have a mini question and answer session on the topic. Go ahead and do that through the Zoom chat functionality, and I can read those off and we'll get them addressed for you. In addition, the training is going to be recorded so that you can go out and listen to it later on. And also want to let you know this presentation is intended for training purposes only. Anything that you might need for the product, specifically technical data sheets, safety data sheets, can be found on DaytonSuperior.com. Okay, so let's get going. So I told you Chuck's hanging out with me again. He's going to talk about, what are we talking about today?
Today we're going to talk about the flex forming system.
Not the shoring system.
Not the shoring system.
Yeah, I know. If all you guys saw that email, I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. I guess I was excited about the old shoring ones, but we are talking about the flex form system.
Well,
you're right.
It's for the future.
Yep. Yes, sir. Okay. So I know you guys have heard this before, but we'll go through Chuck's bio again for those who are new. He's been hanging with the construction industry for over 49 years, and 20 of those have been with Dayton Superior. No, actually, 29 of those have been with Dayton Superior. 20 of them have been for accessories, forming, chemicals, you name it. He's the dealer for that. He has a business and civil engineering degree, and that totally helps with his role in Dayton Superior's subject matter expert, and he is that. Whenever I have a go-to question or a need, that is Chuck's. I think he's just my personal Chuck for question and answering. Okay, so let us start out with FlexForm. Take it away, Chuck.
Okay, FlexForm system basically is a flexible forming system for concrete forming. It basically for doing curved and radius walls. Basically, there's two components really to the FlexForm system. You have the panel, which is basically like a corrugated, basically a flat sheet of steel with ribs attached to it. And then you have the actual radius rib that is actually bent to the radius that you are looking for. So that is pre-bent. And usually when the forms come to the site, they are already pre-assembled. You can also assemble them on site. So it is very versatile. So if you have to change form radiuses out on site, you can do so. This is a 1,200 pound per square foot system, pressure. Basically, it's factory rolled ribs, as I talked about earlier. No templates need to be built. It's primarily once these ribs are rolled, they get attached, the flex form face gets attached to the rib, and you have your form system ready to be attached together to make your form project. You have a 3/16" faceplate steel, which is very heavy. Good product, gives you an excellent finish on the concrete wall. Basically, we've got a complete system here. It matches up to Simply, Steel Ply, and Maxiform. So the system is completely runnable. As we talked about features and benefits, typically we talked about most of the features available. You've got down here, one thing is 19 panel sizes. It is fully runnable. Interchangeable rolled ribs, so basically you just unbolt one, place in another, and reattach it, and you're ready to pour again. The great thing about this product is the strength and durability, smooth finish. Most of the system is rented per job, because a lot of contractors typically, you don't see a whole lot of jobs that require a flexible forming system. So when they do need it, it is typically a rented system. Basically, you got faster pours. You're talking about 11 foot per hour. You basically easy to assemble, nuts and bolts, piece of cake, versatility and flexibility, and it basically saves labor costs. Where do we see this being used? Arch culverts, bridge delta piers, a coal handling facility, ethanol plants, igloos, tension compression ring, water tanks, treatment tanks, etc. Anytime you have a circular concrete wall or a radius wall, the FlexForm is a great option for that. As you can see here, this is a wastewater treatment facility going in place here. You can see the contractor has set it up. We're doing radius walls, doing gang forms with the radius, coming up, placing them, attaching them with sheet bolts, running through the system here, then coming back and patching the holes and moving forward as he is pouring. Here's another shot of the system going in place here. This looks like about a 16-foot tall pour. You're looking at the tie holes, basically in the top and bottom of the ties of the forms, already preset holes where they're going to be attached. You can see the back side of the form, you have tie brackets already on the back side, which actually where you're going to be able to put the ties in place. Now, when we're looking at the tie holes and actually the nomenclature on the panel, you basically have your top rib, your bottom rib, and you basically have the stiffeners in the panel, which actually help give the system its strength. There are basically two tie holes in place, 2 inch and 5/16 holes. So you can go with 1 1/4 inch taper ties without a problem. As you can see, the top rail here, you get the top of the form with a radius form already attached to it. You can see how that's bolted from both directions for ease of connectivity. And here's your prevent rails that typically are set in place there. And then what you would do is just bend that piece up and around, basically similar to an accordion, bring it up and around, and then attach those ribs to that pre-bent rib. That will give you your radius form. The easiest way to do that, obviously, is to have some assistance somehow, whether with equipment on the job site. Here it's being done in our plant. This typically attach a crane to it, pick it up to where you need it, then you'll take those 3/4 inch coil, 3/4 inch bolts, speed bolts, and make the attachment. Delivered out to the job site, the radius form then is basically supported, so we don't get any warpage or anything within the radius of the form. Ready to use once it arrives on site. You basically go to it, place it in tie, put your ties in, and we'll oil it up and you're ready to go. Here's how they're actually shipped to the job site. You can see this is not a great radius, a big radius, but when you put these forms together, this is probably for a large water tank or wastewater treatment tank going in place here. Here you can see the connectivity. The form is actually picked with lift brackets, which actually are also part of the system. Crane will pick the system up. It is not the lightest system in the world, but it does a great job as far as ease of connectivity and being bolted together. Once the two point panels are stacked on top of each other, they're actually put together with connecting bolts that will make the connectivity between the two panels. You brace it, you're ready to go. Come back and start setting the outside panels and then run your ties through. Now with this system, you will need to have an internal spreader. So that is probably the biggest drawback with this system. As with most systems, when you're using a taper tie system, you have to have an internal spreader of some sort to maintain your wall thickness. But this system is also compatible with all of our other systems here. Here's a space lift system. Here we're having a jump system come in place here. You can see on the bottom picture, they're actually using a overhang bracket as a scaffold bracket around the project. So now we're incorporating Dayton Superior products in with the Simons products that can be used to help alleviate or move the project forward. There are scaffold brackets. As you can see, you got multiple layers of scaffold brackets here. But when you get to the cast in place concrete, already you have to have a Richmond or a overhang bracket to attach to that system. So we're looking at a standard BOB or basically a C49 here attaching to that concrete, typically with a wall plate adapter. When you start pouring walls here, you don't want to pour concrete from the top of the form down in through with all the rebar in the way. The problem you'll have with that is you'll get a separation in your mix design. So what'll happen is you can use, they have door hatches that can be put in place here in the forms, which actually enable you to have access to the form so you can basically pour your concrete from, you know, not 10, 20 feet up in the air, but maybe 4 feet up in the air, 3 feet up in the air. So you have to worry about it. Once concrete starts to migrate down through, especially if you drop concrete, you start getting a separation of material between the water, cement, sand, cement, and aggregate. So you have to worry about that aggregate separation of material within the concrete mix. Here you can basically drop this in. You can put a hand job site made chute to actually drop your concrete in to actually finish the material in. A lot of times if you're using your concrete pump truck, you've got room to where you can drop your pump hose down through the form, or come right in from the outside here, fill it up to the bottom of this panel, shut the door, and move to the next layer up to start filling up from up there. As you see here, we have our tie bearing bracket. That's where your ties are going to be located because they are going to sit on that tie acts, that bearing bracket. It's going to distribute the weight across 2 ribs. You can see where the rolled ribs are. You can see there are typically 2 tie bracket, or actually 4 tie holes on every form, minimum. So, and you typically, once you start going up with your lift, you do not have to have the panel up above it. Does not have to have ties right above the panel below it. So you can basically skip those tie holes and move up to the next top of the panel. You do have alignment plates so that when they set the bracket, the panels in place here, they help guide the bracket to come in. And then what you do is you bolt that in together, and that keeps the panels all in alignment together. You will, at this time, once you start getting to a certain elevation, you will have to have a wailer on this system. As with any time you gang form systems, you need to have that vertical alignment. And that vertical alignment is done with the wailer. As you can see, how tall is the limit? Yeah, this is probably pushing it pretty close. Basically, what's going to happen here is your concrete form pressure at 11 foot an hour maximum pour rate on this system. You're looking at here, you're probably talking to pour something this size, quite a bit of time here. This is probably going to be a day or so pour. It's going to take the full day. So you see here they have the panels open, the doors open so they can actually access the inside concrete. This is a monster radius that they are pouring here. Think of it as the system can also go little. Typically you see this type of a system. This system here, if you look at this form system, this is kind of intriguing here because they don't have a tie in this system. We have a compression ring on the outside. Excuse me, a tension ring on the outside, compression ring on the inside. Basically what's happened here is you tight the radius down so tight that there is no worry about the give going out or back. The big thing is here, you have to have a stripping panel put in place here so that you can strip these brackets, strip these forms. Otherwise, the inside forms, the pressure is going to be pushing into it. You break the bolts free, you'll never get the panels apart. So you have to have some way of getting the panels apart prior to, so you can strip the forms on the inside. The outside form obviously is relatively easy. You're just basically going to be able to pop any of the forms, they will slide right off backwards. Here we have, you can see the stripping panel on the inside of the form. This radius here is about an 8-foot radius, if I'm not mistaken. I believe the smallest radius we can go down to is somewhere in that 6 to 8 foot range. That's something that engineering would be able to talk to you what they can actually get down to with this system. Other things you can see is you can do arches with it. This was for basically a walk-through pathway with a bridge overhead. Contractor wanted to be able to pour the arch individually, actually, and with the concrete wing walls, etc. So what they actually did is created this arch here, and they poured up against the arch system. Another thing that this system is great for is towers. Circular towers. Actually, the last job we actually did with this in the area that I know of here was the Dayton International Airport. We actually did space lift with flex form and do the air control tower with that system. So this system here is very versatile, especially when you put it with conjunction with like space lift, maxiform, etc. Here you see the flex form being used with maxiform. Maxiform is being set up as your main straight wall system. This will be for a pier cap going in place. You can see the maxiform setup down on the bottom. This is actually setting up for the piers to actually flare out and catch the beams. We have, as always, a full line of identification charts available for products, what's available within the system. And we also have safety sheets readily available. These can all be emailed to you just basically as a PDF. Bring them on over, and if you have any questions, a lot of these systems are readily available. We also have an application guide, which is also online that you can get a hold of. Inside the application guide, these are the sizes of panels that are available. As you can see, they range everything from 3 feet all the way up to 6 feet in height. And in width, they actually go up to, I want to say, 12 foot in overall length. Another great system here with this, another feature of this system is you can actually put, instead of having, you can carry ribs through the system, but you can actually put a plywood face on it. So if you have to have any rebar penetrating outside of your wall, this is for clarifiers, separation tanks, etc., especially in wastewater where you're typically going to have another concrete structure coming off this radius wall. The rebar can then be attached through. You don't punch holes in your flex form. You basically have it through your plywood. Your plywood will actually sit in there You can actually put a dowel bar sub in there or rebar passing through there to basically connect to the future pours. You're going to have to use top tie brackets, typically on a taper with a taper tie. A lot of times what you'll end up doing is putting a top tie in. This actually helps hold the top of the form to the select wall thickness. So this is just another accessory product that is available for the flex form system. Here we have stiffeners right going through here, and the combination bar here, which actually connects as a stiffener between the two for vertical alignment. You can see the different panels as they come in. They're basically connected. Everything is bolted together here. We have combination plates which actually connect the top panel to the bottom panel. And also extra stiffeners here in between here at the joints in the forms. Just another picture here with a system where we're attaching our form to plywood in the between, because we're actually going to have rebar penetrating through the formwork later on. Here's how that's all set up. You can see how the form is set up here with a basically open cavity in the middle there. That actually enables you to attach your rebar or pass your rebar through. In most cases, I'll tell you right now, most guys like to actually use a form saver in this position. This way they don't have to remove, when they go to remove the formwork, they don't have to worry about getting it hung up on the rebar that you just penetrated through the wall. Your rib connections, when you stack your panels together, basically you're going to have two angles that are going to come back in. Now those are going to be pre-bent for your radius. So those ribs are going to be pre-bent. You're basically just going to have bolts that are going to hold everything together. I will tell you this right now, to FYI, when you go to do this, remove the bolt that's a vertical one first, then come back and move the two horizontal ones.
Why is that, Chuck?
Because you can't slide the two bolts past the other one once they're in place.
Yeah, thought that's what you say.
So, we also have a liner plate. We saw this liner plate in there. It's typically just going in and holding the forms in a vertical alignment. Actually, if you can think of it as a little mini weight, basically strong back. It just holds the panels in place and aligns so your front face of the form is actually smooth. Panel section, as you can see, here's the accordion section of the panel coming in. And then what you also have with that is you're going to get a pre-bent radius form rails that are going to come back in, already sent through the roller. They come from the factory already pre-bent. If you have a job with multiple radiuses on it, you basically can take them off and then reattach another radius to this form. So this form is actually one that can be used over and over again with multiple radiuses. Here with a compression and tension ring, typically tension ring on the outside, compression ring on the inside. Typically, a lot of times with this, you do not have to have a tie running through. Simply because, except for wall spreaders, basically because everything is going to be so tight, packed right in there, you do have to recommend that you do have a stripping panel available so that you can basically open up. If you can think of it like a cake pan, angel food cake pan, where you've got a inside rail that's got to come back like a spring pan. You've got an inside part of that you can actually close down a little bit, just a little bit, to basically slide those pieces out. Now, at Dayton Superior, we have a full set of basically safety data sheets, ID charts, basically safety sheets. We also have an application guide readily available online. You can either contact information on this contact, get a hold of your salesman. If not, get a hold of DaytonSuperior.com and go to training@DaytonSuperior.com, and we can actually get those out for you also. But we've got all of the accessories that are available. We said that we could do an 1¼ to 1 inch taper tie with this system. We can also do a 7/8 inch European rod system with this, or a 5/8. The biggest problem with the 5/8, you're going to actually slow your pour down a little bit. So if you go with the heavier duty, a 7/8 inch taper tie, you can, Euro tie, you can actually get this system up to the 1,200 pounds per square foot. We've also got any of the attachment pieces as far as accessories that go along with this product in any of our handbooks, whether it be concrete formwork, our bridge deck formwork. So we've got all of that readily available for you. Now, if you have any questions, please feel free to give us a call or contact us, Heidi or myself at training@DaytonSuperior.com. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Yeah. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put those into the chat through the Zoom, and we'll get them addressed for you. And while we're doing that and waiting, I want to tell you 2 things that I learned today. That this is not a shoring system, number 1. And number 2, that you know what a spring-form pan is.
I do know what a spring-form pan is.
Your wife is going to be very proud of you, as am I. So, okay, guys, a little extra stuff that I always say at the end while you're putting in those questions. Again, it's being recorded, so you can go check it out later. And if you want to see any of the old Training Tuesdays, try to make it a little simple to where you just search on Training Tuesday through the search functionality off of DaytonSuperior.com. That's DaytonSuperior.com. And you'll find 2 links there. One is to sign up for the weekly or the most current coming up Tuesday. It's actually live right now, so go ahead and do that. We're doing precast month next month. And then the other link you'll find, it will take you to all of the past Training Tuesdays. We have accessories, chemicals, precast, tilt, you name it. In addition, we do have shoring systems out there that you can learn about. So if there's no questions, I guess we'll leave it at that. And everybody, you have a fantastic Tuesday, and we'll talk with you later. Till next time. Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you.